Hello, hello, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Thanks so much for joining me here. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. Welcome. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Let's go ahead. Hold on. Sorry, guys. There we go. All right, let's get this show on the road. All right, thank you so much for being here. We are going to be working on the Small Business Manager. This is a little bit earlier of a stream than normal. I wanted to hop on and say hello to some of the international East Coast friends that might be, coming into their evenings right about now for just an earlier session to accommodate some other folks here. So again, guys, join the Discord if you aren't aware. I have a Discord link down below in the description where I share a bunch of my resources, from my books to notes to projects. Everything can be found in the Discord down below. All right. Hey, Tim. Welcome back in, Tim. Awesome to hear from you again. How's the music? Is it too loud, too quiet? Let me know. Okay, let's get this show on the road. How about ya? Okay. So today is Sunday, March 16th. I appreciate you all for joining me here. We're going to be teaching ourselves some more Python and computer science. We're going to be focusing on the project work for today. I have a setup going for right now. So let's go ahead and get started here. Okay. So where we left off yesterday was that we were successful in computing the negative annual net revenue for loading in items and generating expenses. Now we need to pinpoint various points throughout the program where we need to insert these update method calls and whatnot for computing these statistics and making sure they're not falling through the cracks. So yesterday, let's go ahead and pull up our whiteboard. Yesterday, as you guys can see, we had this. It might seem like a lot's going on here, but just bear with me. Right, so what's going on here is we have our statistics, right? So annual gross revenue, annual net revenue, and so on, annual gross expenses categorized, and methods. These are impacted by these various functions: add item, remove item, whatnot. So we need to identify places that these are impacted throughout some more functions, right? So let's go ahead and just see. Let's run our program here. Okay, let's go ahead. I'm gonna first off, I'm gonna clear out these and start fresh. So we run this. Yes. Okay, we get those. Bring this over. Okay. So now, if I go ahead and run the inventory menu, that's the one we're focusing on right now. Okay, we have already solved the add item, right? So if I go ahead and do this, add item, would you like to use today's date? Let's say no. Let's put in 2024 12-25. Item name, test, cost. Let's say this cost us 111. Size, medium, quantity 1. Boom. Okay, so as you can see, we loaded in an item for 2024 and that reflected as such. Now I'm going to add in another item here. Yes, item name. I'll use today's date instead of in 2025. We'll do 2025 test item. Cost 111. Size medium. Quantity 1. Boom. And now that gets populated for 2025. So that's pretty cool. Item name, eggs cost $8.99. Are eggs still expensive where you're at, Tim? I usually go to Costco. They're not too bad at Costco. At least I haven't seen too crazy. Maybe gone up a couple bucks, but nothing like what people have been showing. All right, so now we are getting that. So if I were to go in though, so that's add item. So if I find edit by item number, I pull item number 1, right here, the 2024 item, and I say, so if I edit okay, let's do this in our whiteboard here. Okay, so if we edit the item, right? If we edit the item name, nothing happens. If we edit the item size, nothing should happen to these statistics. If we edit the item cost, right? That's the next function that'll impact these statistics. So if we edit the item cost, annual gross revenue So if I edit the item cost, annual gross revenue, so if I will that be impacted? I don't think so. Right? But see, if I edit an item's cost, the net revenue will be affected. Hey Don Soap, welcome in. Appreciate you for joining me again. Yeah, early stream. We're trying to help out those East Coast international friends that are usually get the late night stream. They're like, I'm streaming in the middle of the night for them. Okay, so if we edit the item cost, the annual gross revenue does not change. If we edit the item cost, the net revenue could potentially go up or down. Right? Meaning that, because if I increase the cost, the revenue goes up, the net revenue goes up because it would be proportional to this. So if I increase the cost of the item, the expense goes up, causing the net revenue to go down. So let's think about it like this then. Let's do edit item cost positive, right? Let's think about it like this. Increasing it positively. Okay, so nothing happens here. If I increase the item cost, the annual net revenue will go down because the annual gross expense will go up, and then this will go up, and then this will go up. Okay? If I edit the item cost, right, into the negative, right, Good little song vibe here. Turn it up a little bit. Nothing happens here. The net revenue would go up because the gross expense would go down, down, down. Okay? So let's figure this out. Let's bring this off to the side. Let me just minimize it. Okay, so if I edit the item cost, at what point in the program am I doing so? Okay, so let's go here. This is the add item. Find edit item. Okay, let's go through here and let's start to make some notes while we're in here. So this will be, let's make it a stock string. Find edit item menu. A menu used to prompt the user. A menu used to prompt the user for a specific search parameter. Item name, item number. Item name. And item date. A menu used to prompt the user for a specific search parameter that will no, we did not yet. We're like really close, Tim. We did not finish the Roman numeral elite code one, the medium one. We are really close. I didn't want to just solve it based off of copy and pasting the code from people's chats into the into it. I wanted to solve it because I understood it, so I decided to walk away last night. A menu used to prompt. So no. We'll say a menu used to prompt the user for a specific search parameter, where that parameter will be used to call upon how do I phrase this? Calls edit on the found item. That will use said parameter to call on the item search menu function to return back the desired item from the database. The item is the edit item function is called on the found item. Jeez. The edit item function is called on the found item. return back the found item. From the database. The edit item function is called on the found item. Right? Okay. Thank you, Don Soap. Appreciate you. Nice guy, Don. Okay, so, right, we ask the user for a search parameter, edit item number, item name, item date. Right? If the gauging on the search parameter, we call the item search menu on that parameter, right? And then so if the number, we gauge just for the number. If it's the name, we do item search menu name, found items. Then we create another menu here saying found item, please select an item. Right, so this is going to return back if it's a bunch of names, right? We wrote this function to where if you give an item number, you can only return back one item number, right? Every number is unique for an item. But if you search for an item name, you have the possibility of finding duplicate names. So what I did was have the item search menu for the filter of item name return back a list of all the found items with that name. Now what I do is I create a menu here using some kind of creative code. I was pretty proud when I wrote this, I remember it, is that I use my create menu function, which passes in a prompt for the prompt of this menu, which will be that the length of the found items that were returned. So there's 7 found items, or 7 items found with the name of. We go to the first item in the found items, right, and then and we get the item name from that found item, and then we say to display, like that's the item name. We then say please select an item, and then we display a list, right, because the user input takes in a list of we don't want to put in the found items. We want to make a list of item name, of the name and the number of that number for the items in the found items. So we wanted to kind of extract out a specific data of that information. If I command click, it'll take me to the function. Yeah, right. So the item search menu has filter and filter 2 and stir, right, which is the filter 2 can be none. So filter 1 determines the search parameter for the item. Filter 2 determines the deeper level of filter on this if this comes from transactions where we do not calculate active equals false items. So if you guys saw my live coding session on the train from Oakland to Sacramento, I wrote this part into this function to reuse this search menu on a deeper level for identifying transaction menu items. So right, when we're doing to transact an item, we use the same search sequence to get the item back, but we don't want to transact items that have the active status false, so we have to set this filter to a specific instance, right? So let's see, where do I use it here? Where do I use it? Here, like if filter 2, the item search is coming from the search transactions menu, so this would be like true or false. Oh no, it says stir. Why is it stir? This is the filter. If filter 2. If filter 2 item search is coming from the transaction menu. If there is no found active status, we clear, we throw this error, and then we return. And then we continue back in the menu. See, I write these things and it's hard to remember. Using type hints, I just realized if you're going to use type hints, it's also good to type hint the return of the function. Yeah, that as well. I'm not good at doing that either. I sometimes do it, sometimes don't. um, so, then what am I putting in there in the transactions menu? Calling item search menu. True. So it's not a stir, it's a bool. So I have that wrong. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm getting a phone call. All right, we're back, I think. Hopefully we're all good. There we go, we're back. All right, sorry you guys. Thanks so much for bearing with me there. Why are these all funny? Sounds all weird. There we go. Wait, why does it sound all weird? Hmm. There we go. I think we're okay now. All right. Sorry, you guys. Thanks so much for bearing with me. Sorry. My girlfriend, she's driving my car and like the fender liner came down and was like scraping on the ground. So she was like freaking out, like, it's scraping. So she's gonna have to like take it off or something. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out when she drives again. All right. My head is hurting from that. The name is find edit item and the word find isn't in the comments. That's funny. So yeah, we have find. So in the, hold on. Item search menu. Filter 1, this is a boo. Filter 2 is a boo. Okay, so you find edit item menu. Okay, and prompt users for a specific search. Well, it's like I was running out of function names, you guys. You guys are hating on me. Stop hating on me. I was running out of function names. It gets hard when like, so what happens is if I go back to the main menu, I have the find edit item, right, menu, right? So this is the find edit item menu, which has this. So this is what you're seeing right here. But if I press 1, then it goes and does this, it does this, it wants this, right? It has, you could do this for the item number. So it's like a bunch of functions. I don't know, it's just running out of names. Right, so, right, okay, so if I go if I press 1, I pull up this guy. Mr. Sexy's AirPods. I know, I gotta change that name. Tim always giving me crap about it. Positive criticism proceeds to hate. That's funny. Alright. So we have the find edit item menu. So edit item is called on the found item. Right? So we talked about this one. So I'll go right here. Let's make some notes here. You want to see, you're talking about Don Soap. If you want to see comments, look at this guy here. Look at that guy. I commented it line by line for you guys, so when I push this to GitHub, you guys will know what's happening in every single line. I wanted it to be pretty detailed for you guys, so that's what we're going to do here as well. So, so in this case of 1, oh my gosh, this cough is wrecking me. Sorry, you guys. That'll save us a 2-hour Teams. How many story points, Tim, do you think that'll save us? I always see those memes on like all those shorts. Oh, like it's real. Okay. What are story points? Anybody know what story points are? I have no idea. So, if the user responds with 1, they want to search via item number. Right. So if the user selects 2, say want to search via item name. Right? So we'll go here and say when searching for an item via item name, the item search menu function will return a list of all items with the desired name. Names, item names are not unique. Okay, right? We'll say here, item numbers are unique, and I don't like how I keep going capital versus not. Item numbers are unique, and only one item is returned. Error handling is taken care of. In the errors are handled in the item search menu. Right? So if the user enters 2, when searching for an item, are not unique, right? It will then, all found items are displayed to the user, and one is requiring one to be selected to edit. All found items with the same item name are displayed to the user, requiring one to be selected to edit. Right, perfect. Bo's making the documentation on the code himself. Hey, Jacob Galinsky, thanks so much for joining me and following along. We're really close to 1,600 subs. I think Tim was going to get drunk when we hit 1,600 subs, so let's get Tim J drunk here and get him going with yeah, we are going to be working on the Small Business Manager project right now, where we are able to take in items, convert those items into sales, have expenses loaded and transacted based on those items and other expenses arbitrarily, and then transact and create business statistics based on that for a small business owner. So it's pretty cool so far. If you kind of will follow along for a couple minutes, you'll kind of pick up what's going on. It's not too advanced. I know it kind of looks like a lot is going on. Please just bear with it. It's just not it's not super advanced. I'm just using basic function calls, looping. I'm just using basic Python tools stacked on top of one another to kind of create a more advanced piece of software, I guess. But it's not advanced, and I'm not doing any crazy math. I'm not doing any crazy visualizations or modeling or nothing. I'm just doing basic terminal work and creating text on the screen, but I'm doing it in a kind of a unique and fun way, I guess. I don't know, a manual way. Yeah, Jacob Galinsky. We stream every single day, teaching ourselves Python and computer science. I have a degree in human biology and a minor in chemistry. I'm 26 years old, and I've been teaching myself every day for about, or not every day, I've been teaching myself every day for about 3 or 4 months now, but I've been doing, teaching myself in general for about 7, 8 months. All right, we've been streaming, doing everyday streams for a little while now, so we've been growing the channel. I appreciate you guys all for being here and joining me. You guys are awesome. Leave a thumbs up if you're here for the matinee, the morning stream. Appreciate you guys so much. Okay. So yeah, we're going through while we're going through and fixing these bugs, we're also adding in comments. So when I push this to GitHub, you guys will be able to understand exactly what's going on line by line throughout the function, and so you guys can help. If you guys want to learn from it yourselves, as if you're learning, in your own way, you can see what's going on. I got a lot of questions about how the program actually works and how I kind of came up with it and stuff. So when I get this pushed here shortly, it'll all be very detailed for you guys. Edwards, thanks for coming in again. How's it going, Edwards 404? What you been working on? How about you, Jacob? You got any projects or stuff you've been working on? What are your goals with programming? I like hanging out with people, and this is kind of just like a friendly hangout session, as if we were back in college, or I was back in college and we were just in the library together, getting our homework done and working on projects and hanging out. Got my Morris mug here. I found this at Goodwill, I think. Someone's got the little Mr. Morris. I'm not sure who that is, but cheers. Okay. Let's keep them on rolling. How's the music? You guys like the music? Okay. So let's go ahead and keep on trucking here. So find returns. Be edited, right? Cool. Here, sweet. Now here. If the user responds with 3, they want to search via item date created, right? Date created. So we'll do something similar to here and say, copy this down and say, put this right here, like so. When searching for an item via its item date created, rather than name, the item search menu function will not return a list of all items, or will return a list of all items with that desired date created, with that desired date. Item date created are not unique. Right. Perfect. And then that is edited. So we'll take this guy here as well. It's a similar kind of functionality. And put this here. Right, all found items with the same item date created are displayed to the user, requiring one to be selected to edit. Perfect. So that's what's going on in this function. Hey Brian, welcome. I appreciate you joining me here. Yeah, Rip Morris probably. That's why he got sent to the Goodwill, Mr. Morris. Oh, R.I.P. Mr. Morris. Keeping him alive in the chat. I'm working on a scissor lift right now. I'm actually doing the first year mechanical engineering. Sweet, dude. How are you liking that? How's mechanical engineering going for you? Making robots and stuff? Yes, Brian Mora, how's it going? Welcome back in. Welcome back to the channel. It's awesome to hear from you again. How you been? Hey, we got a blackout screen, period. Awesome, that's a cool project. I'm pen testing a private company right now, just looking XXS with Dow, Fox, and way back URLs. Sounds crazy. Okay. So that's what's going on here. So in the find edit item, nothing is going on in the find edit item function for actually doing anything with these edits that we need to make, or for the find edit item menu, right? So what we need to do is in the edit item menu. So in the edit item menu, so we'll say here, function will display a menu of options where each option is a parameter specific to items, to an item, right? The user can edit the individual parameter attributes. Function will display a menu of options where each option is a parameter, is an attribute specific to an item. The user can edit the individual attributes of an item of the passed in item to the function. Right, so I had to create this custom string to be able to have this prompting happening. So what's going on is it's gathering all the key values and it's displaying them like this. This is that custom string. Michael, after finishing this project, do you intend to work with APIs, for example, Fast API or Django REST? Really, I'm not sure. Like, what does really? People often talk about APIs, and I honestly don't really know what they really do. Like, down at on their core level, like, what kind of ways would I work with them? You know. So then. Okay, here, right? So right here, we are generating a new cost for an item. And this is exactly where our bug is taking place from our whiteboard, right? Can I zoom out on this? No. Right? If you guys remember, the edit item cost, if we increase it, the annual net revenue should go down because the expense associated with that item goes up. So we have a new cost, which means we need to edit the cost of this item. Okay, so what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to call, like, I think it would be better to do it at the very beginning. So at the very beginning of the function, let's call we need to make another function called get item associated expense, kind of like that, for an item passed in, the item passed in, and that's going to return the item expense right? So we need to write this function then. So let's just put it down here really fast. Or we'll throw it down. Yeah, we'll put it down here. So def, because this is all part of this, get item associated expense. Get item associated expense, taking in some item. Okay, so what do we need? What do we need this function to do exactly? We need to, given the item, we need to find the expense associated with this given item. So, that being said, is we have to go into our all expenses, right? Because the item has an item number. So we have to say found expense, found item expense is equal to associated expense. Found item associated expense is equal to none. We'll say for expense in all expenses, the global variable, if expense quote note is equal to so we need to pull out the item number. So item number is equal to, in my item.json, the item itself is here, item number is equal to item number, right, is equal to quote, we'll do an F string here, if expense note is equal to if the expense note is equal to go back to the expenses, item number, quote, and we'll insert here a stir conversion of the item number, right? Then we're going to set found item associated expense is equal to this expense, and then we're going to break at that point. We don't need to continue on in the for loop. And then we'll say if return found item associated expense. Right. So if I go back up here, I like this song. Hey Ryan, how's it going? An API is like a waiter in a restaurant. They take your order request, deliver it to the kitchen system, and bring the food response back to you without you needing to know how it was prepared. Interesting. Hey, Gagan, how's it going? How do you stay consistent? Just honestly, sheer willingness and wantingness, desire to learn. I often, I liked, I'm huge on like investment, like in terms of not only monetary but time and whatnot. And so I often think to myself, what else would I really be doing? Like, would I just be like watching TV or, playing video games or, you know, like what else would I really be doing like at the end of the day? Like probably nothing as productive or, as bringing me much growth than this probably is. So I might as well, do this. Like that's, I don't know. Plus the stream also helps a lot. It really helps the stream. Having you guys here, honestly, thank you so much. Leave a like if you're here, part of the midday crew on this Sunday, March 16th. We're learning and teaching ourselves Python, and we are working on our small business manager project. This is going to be our final project for Harvard CS50X that we've taken. We just watched the week 10 lecture, and we are, working on the final project for that one. I'm new here, so can you share your journey summary? Yeah, so my name is Michael. I'm 26 years old. I have a degree in human biology and a minor in chemistry. I work as a formulation chemist for a biotech company. I got a job right out of college as a formulation chemist. I've been there for a little over 3 years now, where I am a mid-level scientist 2, hoping to push towards that scientist 3 here soon, if given an opportunity. And anywho, I've been teaching myself Python ever since the beginning of summer 2024, so we're a little under a year. We've been teaching ourselves for about 7-8 months so far, and we started with Harvard CS50P. I compounded that material with with the Python Crash Course book. I provide a roadmap of my entire learning journey in my Discord, link down below, completely for free for you guys. So I don't charge for anything. I want to be completely transparent. I found that when I was looking for kind of role models of a way to or path to follow for learning this, I found that a lot of people on YouTube conveyed a ingenuine or disingenuine approach for learning this. They often, I think it was pretty much lied almost. They said, "Oh, I learned and mastered this material in a few short weeks to months, and I got it. I ended up making 6 figures after that." And it just seemed so fishy, and I didn't believe it. And I wanted to try things for myself. And then when I realized that this is pretty difficult and this is something I am passionate about learning more about because I do find that the information is fascinating to me. Because I am a physical scientist and I do enjoy learning more about this technological science side as well. I think it's really, really crazy. And so I wanted to create this stream as a way to convey like that authentic point of view, and then show you guys the reality of trying to learn this stuff every single day by yourself. So that's my journey here. I'm sticking to it. We are at, let's check the sub count here. Let me check the sub count. Come on, where are you at? We were at 1,597. We are 3 subs away from 1,600 subs. I appreciate you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys truly for joining me here. We are grinding away. Thank you guys so much. We are 3 subs away. If you want to be here in the lucky 1,600 club, feel free. Okay, let's keep on trucking. Okay, so so right here, the cost. We need to get this expense. So we're getting the expense based on that item. We are then going to go item expense here. If we update this cost, the new cost, we need to go item expense. We need to go into this dictionary, which is going to have an amount. And we're going to set it equal to the new cost of good as well, because the cost of this expense for this item is equal. They need to stay equal. And so then what we need to do is we need to call actually, I don't want to do this at every instance of the edit item, because I think I'm going to do it here, right? If so if so I'm going to go down to this function again. I'm going to say, actually, if found item associated expense is equal to or is none, then we're going to we'll set it equal. If it is none, then we're going to raise value error, just say no found expense for this item. Like so. We'll put that there. Okay. No else return that. Okay. So back in here, if we get that value error, Gagan's got 3 accounts. You're funny. We're at 1599, boys. One away. Who wants to be lucky number 1600? Tim's gonna get wasted after that. Oh, that's funny. We're at 1599, my friends. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much for supporting me. We shot past, once we hit 1400, we went to 1500 in 3 days, and then we've been at 1500 to 1600 for like almost like 2 weeks now. So it's been taking us a little bit to climb up the 1500 ladder here. I think oh, there we go. We are at 1600. I'll take a screenshot right there and throw that in the Discord. There we go. Nice. Thank you guys so much. Woohoo! We hit 1600. I'm going to throw us this screenshot in the Discord as a celebration. So yeah, we hit 1500 subscribers on 2/26/25, and we just hit 1600. So I think YouTube's been kind of giving us some backlash. So make sure to hit that thumbs up if you're here, you guys. Keep it the live streams pumping here. Okay. So, right, we have that. We set the new expense. Update the business expense information staff for the new expense. So expenses, so save file here. Type is equal to expenses.json. And then we have to save file for business.json as well, because we're going to update the business information here too. So on 6, we're going to run here so on 6 here, we're going to run in business.py update annual gross expenses. Okay, so hold on. So rather than, so if we update the cost of the good, we get a new cost via the set item cost function. We set the item cost. So old cost is equal to item cost of good. Yeah. Right? New cost of good is equal to this return value. We set the item cost of good to that new cost. We have the old saved though. The item expense is equal to the return value of the get the item associated expense. We say update, we call business.update annual gross expenses. So we call update annual gross expenses. Check Discord. You always kill me with those ones. Those are funny. All right. So, expense information functions. So what do we need to do? We're updating the, let's go to our file here. So, annual gross expenses needs to go up, needs to be updated. So update annual gross expenses. We're going to put in the expense and the old amount. So the expense is going to be item expense and old cost, right? That updates that. Does that return a value? No, it updates it. It goes into there, it calculates the difference. Okay, because we need to then set the expense needs to be set. Right. So we need to set to the new amount and then pass in the expense with the new amount set and then pass in the old cost, and that will adjust just that individual one. Okay, so let's go back to main menu. Main menu. Exit. Yes. So if I run, yes. Inventory, find edit item, item number 1. Okay? I want to set this cost, the 2025 cost, from 11 down to just 100. So this should go from, this should decrease down to, this is the 2024 line item, should decrease down to 100 from just 111, and then this should also reflect, but in the negative. So if I go 3 cost of good, if I set the cost to 100, oh boy. So we are getting an error here on line 348 for this. Okay, so we need to go for, we could pull the items. Enter inventory, find edit, number 1, cost 100. Type error, tuple indices must be integers or slices, not stir. Oh, sorry. Values. Inventory. Find that item number 1. Cost of good 100. Boom. Okay, that got updated. Okay. Now if I press 6, will it save? So if I press 6, we should see all of these 2024 values drop, right, to 100 from 111. So if I press 6, okay. So only the annual gross expenses adjusted appropriately, because that's the only one we have put in. Okay, so we're on the right track. We're on the right track here, boys. We're on the right track. So if I go ahead and do and then did that update that expense? Yes, it did. It found it. Oh, yo, I'm writing these functions like pretty like spot on without even error checking them, which is pretty cool. Right? Let's go. This is sick. So then let's try it for number 2. Find edit item. Item number 2. Cost. Let's lower this cost down to 99. Now if I press save, 6. Boom, 99. Woohoo! And then business, that got changed there. Sweet, nice. That's so cool. Isn't that awesome? All right, so now, what is next? We need to we need to apply this to the annual net revenue. as well. So business.update annual net revenue. Annual net revenue. So this is, if I go to business pie, I have initialized annual net revenue. Does that return a value? Yes. So we have to set business index income information so I go to the business time. So business dot income information, we'll put in here the annual net revenue equals this. So if I go main menu, exit, yes. Now if I launch right here, it'll auto populate this back up. There you go. See? Now if I go inventory, find edit item number 1, cost of good down to now to 88, and then press 6, boom. Now that saves on annual net revenue, that saves there. So we just need to update these functions here. That's our next goal, is the annual gross categorized expenses and methods expenses. So I have the initialize, right, info expenses here for categories and methods. Right, and that returns it, but I don't want to do O of N time, O of N work for no reason. I don't need to, if I only edit the one, I need to make an update function. I know I'm doing O of N work for the annual net revenue, but I decided to do O of N work because, and repeated work technically, because there's not that many years, and that's kind of the O of N work that I'm doing, right? And so it'd only be like, minimum maybe 10, 15, iteration, so it's not super large end value, right? Because you won't have like a crap ton of years, like infinite, like 20,000 years of data. No, you'll have just like 5 years or however long the business has been alive for, right? And so that's why I decided to only have an initialized annual net revenue and no update, because I don't think it really is super detrimental in terms of time. Right. So, but for here, we definitely want to have an update right here, right? So, def update annual gross info expenses. So it takes in self and a filter, and then it's going to take in a So filter 1, info filter. So we should have an info filter and a category change filter, or an info change filter, right? So if the, yeah, so, okay, so this is what we'll do. In our update gross info expenses, we're gonna write this. Info filter is gonna be a bool, which can translate to, which you have to have this on. So this is required. And then you have to have an info filter, a info change filter, which is also a bool, which is defaulted to none. Right? So that being said, what does that mean? Well, let's say that the user, so then we need to pass in a old amount, right? The old amount. So, and why do I have the old amount is none here? If older revenue. So this will calculate the diff or update. This is gross revenue though. So years they sold, if year is none, type error. If the amount less than 0 amount is equal to none, raise that. Oh, that's to change the revenue. So you get the current revenue. The updated revenue. You pass in the old revenue. You create a difference, and then you update based on that difference. Hey, AJ Brady. Welcome back in. So then, on update annual gross info expenses, you pass in an old amount. And you pass in just pass in actually we want to pass in the info filter bool the expense, right, that we're currently handling. Right. So we'll say year is equal to expense item expense. The old cost, new cost. Set the new cost. Get the expense. Set that new cost expense. So, come on, think, like, we are trying to identify, if you pass in the expense to update, the expense currently is this. Update gross expenses. Right, so this, basically, we're gonna take this, yeah, so we'll take this, right, put this here, we'll try to get a year from this expense. We also need to give in an expense old amount is going to be int, which is equal to none at first. So then we get a year off this current expense. We get an amount from this expense. So actually we're pretty much going to take this entire function actually. So we go amount is less or amount is none. If old amount if old amount, so then we go if year in self expense information, annual gross expenses, hey Mad Games, appreciate you for jumping in here. Yeah, we're building a business management tool for handling expenses and doing various calculations. Yeah, exactly. Have you considered utilizing some libraries to make terminal UI? From a quick search I found rich Y is Python library for rich text and beautiful formatting in the terminal. I found rich. Oh, okay. Terminal UI. I don't even really know about that much about that, AJ. I've never even really heard about it at all. So if the year is currently expense information, annual gross expenses, so this would be info filter, so if your expense information say this. If info filter, so info filter is not going to be a Boolean actually. If info filter equals to quote categories, then go here. What's going on here? What got deleted? Let's see. So try. Okay, so this is not a bool. So if info filter equals to quote categories, right, then we'll do this. Elif info filter equals to quote methods, then we're going to do this. Okay, but we're going to go into if years in expense per annual gross categories expenses, gross category expenses, right, year diff. If it's methods, we're going to go methods expenses gross, gross methods. Right here. Right. So you'll get a date of this expense. You'll get the amount of the expense. It has to be positive or not, right? Or it has to be positive, right? If given an old amount, right, you calculate the difference, else the difference is equal to the old amount. Like what if it was just 0? If it's 0, then there is no old amount, it's not needed, right? Ooh. Drop an AirPod. So if the info filter provided is categories, right? If info filter is equal to categories, if year in self.expense information, annual gross expense categories dot keys so we need to go expense category here. So then we need the expense category and expense method. So category is equal to expense, quote, cat. And then the method, let's see what's the method. Okay. So then if year in this category go to that at that category at that year, right? So you go to the expense information, annual gross category expenses, the category itself, the keys are the years. So if year in self-text and category.keys, go to the category at that year, and I'll go to the category at that year plus U with diff. So if methods, we'll do the same thing here then. Method dot keys, the method year, and then the method year here, like so. Okay. So then what happens, what about the info change filter? So let's say if info change filter, so let's say they change the method. So if I update the change filter, right? So that's basically detecting if it's detecting if you changed category or method. If you changed category or method, we need to basically go to the old category or the old method, reduce out the amount, right? We need update annual gross info expense amount. So I call update annual gross expenses. Income information equals this. Business dot update annual gross info expenses underscore amount. Pass in the info filter equals categories. Actually, I don't want to do info filter at all because I want to just do it to both of them. Right, if you want to update one, you got to update the other. So there's no sense in doing an info filter, in my opinion. If year and annual gross. Okay. So then we can back this up. So now that will update the methods and okay, so let's try it now. Moment of truth. Hey, if I remade the allocator project I was assigned in my machine organization and programming course, would you be interested in working on implementing it if you get around to low-level stuff? Yeah, Brady, what does that entail? What does the allocator project, have inside of it? Let me know more about it. I want to open it up to the channel and the stream to collaborating with you guys a lot more. I wanted to finish these projects and get them out of the way, finish the course, and then we can start really working on collaborating and expanding our deeper level knowledge now that we've kind of gotten a good surface level understanding across a few languages, a few web front end, back end stuff. Like we've kind of gotten a good surface level take on that. So yeah, definitely. Let me know, AJ. So update annual gross info expenses amount. And then, so that will update. So if I relaunch my program, run, yes, that auto updates. Okay, so now if I go inventory, find edit item number 1, if I take this down to 77, or take this down to item cost 77, error, business update, and you're missing one required positional expense. Okay, so we need to provide the expense. Expense equals item expense, and then old amount old cost, right? So let's see here. Inventory, find edit item number 1, edit cost down to 77. Okay, that made it go down. Now let's go back. Boom. Negative 77, 77, 77, 77. Woo! Yes. Okay, so that's happening. So now, if I go find edit item number 2, if I make this go up in cost to 100 and then press 6, yes! Woo! Nice. Nice. Okay, and then the expenses saving, 77,100. And the item, 77,100. Yes! Yeah, baby. Okay, everything is saving appropriately there. So now if we find edit item by item number and edit the cost, right, that updates appropriately. So if I edit the date created though, that could change it. Because that changes the expense. Oh, there's a lot to edit here. Dang it. No. The edit menu is definitely the hardest here. Pause. You implement two functions, int free block void pointer and void allocate int size to manage heap memory in C. You implement two functions, int free block void on some pointer and quote void pointer allocate int size to manage heap memory. Huh. So you allocate int free block. So free block returns an integer value for the memory freed. Then you have allocate. Okay, so now what? Right. Because then if I add in, let's go like this. Let's do this. Let's go cost 50. Make that go down. Then let's add in an item. No. 2024-10-31. Name. Test. Cost. This is going to be 50 as well. Size. Medium. Quantity. 1. Boom. So now we have two items in 2024 that are being summed. And then if I go find edit item number 3, and I edit this size, this cost down to 45, and press 6, that goes down by 5. Nice. So it's updating the one item and then associating with that item, with that revenue and those categories, but not updating like everything and you know, losing count of that. Right. So then, okay, so if I go back to my whiteboard, if we edit the item cost positive, all of those go up and all of them go down. So let's go find edit item. Item number 2. Let's make it go up to 200. 6. Boom, that went down. Perfect. That went up and those went down. That's now at 200 and that's now at 200. Awesome. So now we go find edit item number 2. Let's bring this back down. Cost 50, 6. That got changed. That went down. That went up, I mean. That went down. That went down. That went down. This is now at 50. And this is now at 50. Yay! Yeah, that's kind of what I interpreted it as, AJ. Like allocate size of int allocate for it returns a void pointer which acts as a generic pointer but doesn't describe the data. Okay, so it would return you a pointer of memory location for that size. I kind of always wondered how Malik was doing that under the hood. Okay, so nice. Now we need to fix part of our code. One sec, y'all. All right. Okay, so what's also interesting, you guys, is if we I think that's working appropriately. So we're updating the gross expenses, the income the net revenue. And the info, both of them. Okay. So then what happens if I update the date? Right, if I update the date, edit item date, right? So edit item date, what will happen to these? So let's say I have an item in 2025. If I edit the item date, potentially, no, the annual gross revenue, that will not change because that does not change the sale date yet. So nothing happens here. Annual net revenue, if I change it into it will potentially go up or down. Annual gross expenses will go up or down. And same here. Okay. So honestly, a similar approach to before. So if I get a new date, that means I need to then update the statistics. Like if the new date is not the current one, like in a different year, we would have to update these values. Okay, so new date created. Um, so I'll go like this. Old date is equal to old year is equal to the item date created, and then we're going to slice this up to the first 4 digits. We get a new date. New year is equal to the new date created. Slice 4, right? If a old year does not equal to new year, then we're going to run a update business.update annual gross expenses. So update annual gross expenses. So if I do this, I have to give it an expense. This takes the amount you're given, calculates a difference. So the amount I'm given is going to be so if I don't give an amount, the difference is equal to amount. Okay, so if I go down, update by the new amount on diff. Old amount is 0. Amount diff comes amount. So if I say it costs $45. So if I say if I change the date from 2025 to 2024, then if I change the date, I need to subtract out the value. So what do I need to pass in then? After annual gross expenses. So if I change the year, I need to remove the amount of this expense of this item from the annual, right? So it has to subtract out because this is gonna gross revenue. Whoops. I do the net revenue or gross revenue. Very similar process, but it goes up and down by the diff, which is amount minus old revenue. So if there is no old revenue, I pass in the item has an updated year. So the item has an updated year. I don't know what to do here. So if the item has an updated year, we need to, for old revenue, I don't think this function will work because it's currently going to the current year the item has. It's then updating based on the change in cost of revenue for this item. So we need to calculate an old revenue that would subtract it out from that current year. Okay. So we would have to say that the amount is 0. Current sold price of this item, which is 0. So we don't need to actually update annual growth. Why are we updating annual gross revenue here? We shouldn't be. Expenses. So annual gross expenses does something similar. It gets the year and the amount of that expense. It then calculates the difference based on the old amount. So if it provide, I need to call this then basically before I assign the new date created to as the item date created, I need to call the update on that current year, which will reduce out. All right, so here, if annual gross expenses, the expense is going to be so we need to find the expense for this item though, right? Here. So the item expense here, right there, and then the old amount is going to be equal to going to call the pull the current amount of our value. So we basically need our, see if the current amount for this expense is $10, right? If the current amount is $10, then we need to basically provide a old amount that will absolute value the current amount. So we'd have to provide two times the current amount, so that the old amount is two times the current amount, so that 10 minus 20 would give us negative 10, so that it will go down by the negative 10. So the amount, old amount, is equal to amount is equal to item quote cost, right? The old amount is equal to 2 times the amount, right? So that will then, if the years don't equal each other in terms of if they're changing to a new year for their date created on this item, the update annual gross expense is going to take an old amount of 2 times the current amount to basically find a negative, to calculate a negative amount right here to of the same proportional to this to the amount to remove from that current year in there, right? If the year is in here, else set it, which it should be, right? So that's the only time you need to change the annual gross expenses. And then you'd also have to do that for the annual gross info amount as well. Right, so business dot update annual gross info expenses amount, and the expense is going to be equal to the item expense, and then so what if they change it to like 2026? Put it in. This is getting tough. So if the old years do not equal each other, we need to update the gross annual expense, which will reduce it down by the current year, and then update the annual gross by amount. This will do the same thing right? And then we need to update the annual net revenue right? We want to update the annual net revenue, and then, but what if they equal the same year? Well, if you just change the year, the date into something, then nothing happens, right? It stays the same for all of these categories. But if the year changes, you have to update all 3 of these. Yes. And you call item date created. Then you save the item date created on the new year. And and then you need to update for the new date created. Right, so you have to go business to update annual gross expenses. Here for that item expense. The old amount is none. You don't need an old amount anymore because you don't need an old amount anymore because you're passing in just the expense. It's going to pull the current amount and then add that to the year that the new date is for. And then we got to update this one here as well. And then take this, and then I'm going to throw this here so it does it no matter what on both cases. So update, this will be update for that current new date. No old amount. Okay. So if I go main menu, exit, yes. Let's go ahead and delete these files. Let's run. Let's bring up our files. Okay, let's go inventory, add item, test, use today's date, yes, test, cost, 111, size, medium, quantity, 1. Okay, that brings up that. So I can find edit item, I can go item number 1, I can change the name. Okay, I have an error there. Inventory, find edit item number 1. We change the size to large, that changes that perfect. Now if I change the cost to 100, that changed there. I go back to menu, I change 100, 100, 100, 100, all for 2025, 100, and 100, so that's working. Then if I go find edit item, item number 1, if I go date created, cost, 324, cost of good. Yes, inventory, find edit number 1, date created, use today's date, no, 2024-12-25. Okay, that changed it to 2024. So now what we should see is this get removed, this get removed, this get removed, this get removed, and it should populate it for 2024 now for the same amount. Right? No. So the item date changed. The expense date did not change. So that's why these did not change. So we need to do item expense date equals to new date created. Right? So now if I go find edit item, let's go main menu, exit, yes. Let's delete the files. Let's run here, yes. Let's bring in our files so we can see them live. Right. Inventory, add item, use today's date, test, cost, 10, medium, 1. Okay, there we go. Now if I go find edit item, item number 1, date created, number 4, use today's date, no, 2024-12-25, boom, okay, that changed that. And then let's go back. Okay, so that did something there. Okay, so we appropriately reduced down, and put that on the 2024 year. But we did not update the annual net revenue appropriately because our item is still showing Oh yeah, it is working. It's zeroed. Haha, that worked! Woo! Nice! I honestly did not think that was gonna work. I did not know what I was doing there. Right, so we had, on 2025, we had the negative 100, the 100, the 100, and the 100. All right, or so these are thousands, but this is in terms of, this is $10. So negative 10, 10, 10, 10. And now when we change the year, so watch this. Now if I go find edit item, item number 1, change the date created for, let's change it back to today. Okay, let's go 6. Boom, those swapped right back over. Yes! Woo! Woo! Nice. All right, so now, that's so awesome. Okay, so now let's just add another item for test. Use today's date, yes. Name, test, cost, let's say this was $99. Size, medium, quantity, 1 of those. Okay, that got added in right there as 10 plus 99 for a 109 cost on 2025. Now if I go find edit item number 2, and I change this date to 2024, right, and I press enter, you should see this go back to negative 10, and the 99, negative 99 should populate right here, and then this should go down to 10, and the 99 should populate here. And 99. Right, so let's do it. Negative 99, negative 10, 10, 99, 10, 99, 10, 99. Oh, that's so cool. Nice. Oh, that's really awesome. That's really cool. Okay. really good. Okay, so that's really cool. Now what? Okay, so we've got that now. So if I go find edit item number 1. So if I edit the date created, that'll change factors. The date listed, that doesn't change any factors, and the listing price doesn't change any factors. Those are just kind of for information only purposes. And so then I'll have to do the same thing though for date sold, but now we're going to be incorporating, in addition to net revenue, gross revenue as well, right? We have to take it one step further than doing our date created and cost, right? We have to do it, incorporate now the same thing, but for also updating gross revenue. And then if we update the shipping price and the shipping method, we have to update the expense associated with that too, right? So we're almost there. Honestly, like probably 8 to 10 more hours of coding in this, and then it'll be ready to go somewhat. Almost there. Oh, I appreciate you guys joining me here. If you're here, leave a thumbs up on the stream. We are at 1,602 subscribers. Woohoo! We've crossed over 1,600 today, so thank you guys truly for supporting me and being here. You guys are awesome. All right. So that was some good work on this so far. So then all right. That looks pretty good. I think I'm gonna go to Wendy's for lunch. What do you guys think? Should I go live on my phone and take you guys with me? Or is that kind of overkill? All right. What you guys working on out there? What are you guys studying? Okay. The Allocator remake? Okay, cool. Yeah, you'll have to let me know if you want to work on that together or something. We can find some time. Okay, so we successfully updated for updating the cost of the good and the date created. The statistics are being updated appropriately. The date listed doesn't matter. The listing price doesn't matter. The date sold. The date sold. Okay. So we have an edit item more, which has all these other options, right? So you already kind of tried doing stuff here. So date listed, it's fine. New listing price doesn't matter, okay. So new date sold. new date sold equals set date created. Add in date sold. So if I change the date sold, I have to adjust the So if we change the date sold, we don't have to change anything to do with the expense, right? The expense, that doesn't matter. We have to just deal with this. So we'd have to just do so a new date sold would just alter the gross annual revenue for that date if the dates differ. So let's do this function here. If you do the date sold, here, so old year, new year, so you basically need this, the amount, cost of the item, cost of good. Okay, so you have to go like this. If we change the date sold, we have to get a few things here. We need a old year is equal to item quote date sold, old sold year, date sold slice of 4, right? New date sold so we'll say new sold year is equal to the item quote is the new sold date, the new date sold slice of 4. Okay, we say if old sold year is not equal to new sold year, right? We're gonna do the updates. So what do we need to update? We need to update the gross annual revenue to remove sale price from old year and put into new year. And then we need to update the yeah, that's it, right? I think we don't do anything with the expenses. We're not changing anything in the expense of this. It's just a track for revenue. So this will be business dot update gross annual revenue, the item itself, old revenue is going to equal to 2 times the current sale price. So sale price is equal to item sold price. We're going to multiply that by 2. that'll remove it from that current year. And then we need to set this to the new date sold, and then call business.update annual gross revenue on the item, and then no old revenue is given. We set it. We set the new date. And then we run an update on that item. And then run the update to net revenue as well. Right, we still need to do that. We update the gross, and then we update the net off of that gross, that new gross value. If you update this date sold. Okay, so let's go run. 6, main menu, 5, yes, run, enter, transactions, item search, number 1, let's list this item as, let's just put it for sale, use today's date, 50, item search menu, number 1, let's list this as sold now, use today's date, 50, delivery, business object has no in line 729. Yeah. Annual revenue 729. Oh. We update the annual gross revenue here, and we call initialize net revenue. Okay, so we could run this, enter inventory, the main menu, transactions, item search number 1. This item is sold. Yes, sold price 50. Delivery. There you go. So now you get a sold price in business JSON. You now have a 50 for 2025 on annual gross revenue. And that annual net revenue should be this 50 less this 10. Initialize annual net revenue here. Current. annual gross revenue dot get year, get the value of that year, current annual gross expenses equals the value of that year at the current year, annual net revenue at that year, turn that. Okay, so then we need to, it returns a value. So we go business dot income information quote annual net revenue is equal to the return of this. So if I delete that, delete that, delete that, run here, go Control C, run here, enter, move these files in so you can see them, add an item, test, cost 10, size, medium, quantity 1, right? Now if I go main menu, transactions, item search number 1, list item is for sale, yes, 50, item search menu number 1, list item is sold, yes, 50, delivery, boom. There we go, perfect. So now we get a 50 here. We have a 10 for the annual gross expenses for 2025. So our 40 is here for that less that. So if I add another item, test, cost, this would be another, let's say this one costs 20, medium, quantity is one of them, boom, okay. That went down because we have increased gross expenses, which increased there, proportionally, perfect. So that is 50 minus 30 is 20 now. So now let's say I make a sale, main menu, transactions, item search menu number 2, list item for sale, yes, let's say it was 50, search menu 2, list item is sold, yes, 50, delivery, boom, there we go. So now my annual net revenue is 70 because my items, I have a sold price of 50 plus a sold price of 50. So my gross is 100 for 2025. My net is the 50 plus the 50 minus the two costs, 20, 20, so minus 30. So it would be 70, which is my net. Perfect. Ahaha. So now if I go to main menu, inventory, find an item, item number 2. If I go to more options, if I change the date sold, right? If I change the date sold, no, if I change the sold price, no, 3 is the date sold. Yeah, so if I change the date sold by selecting 3, I'm going to update and remove. So I go date sold, no, 2024-12-25. Okay, so now that changed our date sold to in the past, 2024, right? So the only thing though is we have a date created here. Right, we can't make the date sold be before the list they created. So I go back, boom. Now that happened. What happened here? Okay, in my items, we have 20, 50, and 50 for annual gross revenue. 2 sales, 50 and 50. Perfect. So one happened in 2024, and one happened in 2025. Annual net revenue for 2025 is 20. $30 minus See, the thing is we need to we can't allow the user to enter a date that was before it was entered into the system. Right, because now it's getting, the item was loaded on 2025 but sold in 2024, which doesn't make any sense. So that's currently a bug that we need to fix as well. Right. So we'll have to go like this. If they change, they go find that item number 1, more options, date listed. So if they change the date listed, right, so they get a new date listed. Year, month, day is equal to new date listed dot split on the hyphen. We'll save this as a tuple. Day. New year, new day, today. So if the item old date this is old, this is new, we'll say old year, old month, old day is equal to item date listed date listed dot split like so. And then if item date listed, then we'll go ahead and split, else so new year, new month, new day equals the new date listed dot split. If the item date listed, if the item's current date doesn't have it, that has a date listed, then we're going to split it again. We're going to split on that. Else, if it doesn't, print clear terminal, print quote item not yet listed. Error. And then we'll run edit item more on the item again from here. So we'll say if old year less than is if old year greater than new year if old, and then we're going to elif old year is equal to new year. And old month less than old new month less than month. We'll do something there. Else the old year equal to new year and new month less than equal to old month and new day less than new old day. We'll do the same thing. So if old year is greater than new year, we'll basically do this. Clear terminal, error item cannot, error can't list item before it's date created, right? elif or this or that. So if the old year is greater than new year, we'll do this. Elif the old year equals new year and new month is less than. Old month is greater than. Old month is the same thing, greater than new month. Old month equal to new month. Old day greater than new day. Right? We're going to do the same thing here. Right? So else, we're going to set the date listed. Okay, and then set it to edit more. So we'll say actually here, if not item date listed, right? We're going to do this. Else do this. Has not been listed. So new date listed equals set date created. Get old year, old month, old day is the date listed split on that. Okay, so let's go Control C. Run here, enter, inventory, add item, yes, test, cost 10, medium, 1. Right. So then we are, okay, so if I go, I don't have a listed here, so if I go find edit item, item number 1, edit, more, date listed, there you go, error has not been listed, perfect. So then let me go back to previous menu, back to main menu, transactions, item search number 1, list item for sale. Use today's date, yes. the menu. Business JSON now has 10, 10. Perfect. Now if I go transactions, answers, this item is sold. Yes. 10. Boom. Perfect. Made 10. Cost us 10. Netted 0. Perfect. Now I go item search menu. Number 1. Main menu. Exit. Yes. I go inventory, find edit item. Item number 1. More options. Date listed. Let's do no. 2025 dash 03 dash 15. Cannot list item before its date created. Please select an attribute to edit. Perfect. Nice. So now that's appropriately identifying this is very cool, like how you can go back and forth through the menus. Yeah, I'm kind of doing like having function hopping, right? So you just use functions to hop between menu to menu. Kind of like how you'd be able to go back in a page like on the internet. So it's kind of cool that way. Thanks for coming in, Colby. Appreciate you for jumping in. So right, so you can't list an item if its date created was in the past, and you can't sell an item if its listing price was in the past. The case is 3. Date sold for 3. So date sold. So in case 3, if not, item quote date listed, we're going to clear terminal, print the item has not been listed right here, right? Elif not item date sold. We'll do this same thing, but say that the item has not been sold, and then else Control X. We're going to get a new date sold. We have a new date sold, right? So we'll need to take this. Here. So in case 3, right here, like so. So if we're gonna get a new date sold dot split, old year is the date sold dot split, right? We're going to do that. Now it's sell item before it's so we get a new date, we get a new sale date. Get the new sale date listed, right? Perfect. Before it's listed for sale. We'll copy this print. And then put it here as well. Perfect. Hey Elle, how's it going? Appreciate you for joining me here. Thanks for following along and leaving a like if you wouldn't mind. We are working on the Small Business Manager. This takes in items. You can edit the items, you can transact them, you can generate expenses, and then you can generate business information off that information. It's pretty cool. So if they press 3 to change the date sold, if there is no date listed, then we throw an error and continue. If there is no date sold currently, we throw an error and continue the loop. If it has a date listed and a date sold, we can change the date sold. So the new date sold is equal to the prompt for set date created. We split off on the hyphens to get the new year, month, and day. We make sure that all of those values come before the date listed in time. So the thing is equal. So if it's less than if the old year is greater than the new year, you can't sell an item in the future or the past. So the new year is its date sold. New date sold. Old year is date listed. So if the old year is greater than the new year, then you can't do that, because the new year technically is now in the past. If they're equal to each other and the old month is greater than that, then, but if those are equal to and the new day is greater than, right, else you can do it before it's listed for sale. So then you get a sale price, you set the sale price. No, you get the sale price. You get the old year. So old year sold. Item date sold. Okay. New year sold. New day sold. So we're already doing this. So new year equals to new year is not equal to new year. Then we do that. And then we set it. If they are equal to each other, we set it. We just update those two. Okay, so if I go, right now I have one item in here and it is sold. So if I go back in menu, let's Control C out of this. Let's run, enter here. Let's go inventory, find edit item, item number 1. Let's go more options, edit date sold. Okay, use today's date. So the date sold last time was today. Let's put a date in the past. No, 2024-12-25. Error, can't sell item before it's listed for sale. Perfect. So then if I go, if I change the date sold, no, 2026 dash one dash one, that made it go through. Right, and so then if I go back, that updated for 2026, and now we have a 2026 for $10 there. The gross revenue came out of 2025 because we removed it from and put it in 2026. The net revenue for 2025 is still -1, -10 because we still acquired that item in 2025. Right, we created the item in 2025 for $10. Right, but we didn't sell it until 2026. So that's why we got the revenue there. And that's why we have none here for 2025. We didn't make a sale yet. Cool. Oh, gosh. Golly. All right. That's nice. Okay. Case 4, if not item date sold. Old sold price. New sold price. Update annual revenue. Annual gross revenue. Item old sold price. And then this would be initialized net revenue. So if you update the sale price, okay, so I think that'll work too now. So I go find edit item number 1. If I update the sale price and more options, sold price to 15, like 488. Business.update annual gross revenue item old sold price. Business object has no attribute update annual revenue. Online 488. Yeah, I think so. Here. Okay. Okay, so if I go here, inventory, find edit item number 1, I take the more options, sold price, update it to 15, and go back, that updated here, but that did not update here because we're not saving the return value back. doing it though until the very end here. On my edit item, okay, so we have to return this as business dot income information quote annual net revenue quote, like that is equal to the return of that. So if I go main menu, exit, yes, I launch, that'll all update. So now we get 15, 15. We generated the expense. We generated the expense in 2025 for that item of $10. We then, we generated the expense for that item in 2025 for $10. We sold it in 2026 for $15, leaving a negative net revenue of $10 in 2025. So we bought the item in 2025 for $10. We sold the item in 2026 for $15. Still have a negative 10. Hold on. So we bought the item for $10 in 2025, increasing our annual gross expenses by $10 for 2025. Right? We then sold the item in 2026 for $15. Okay. Right, we sold it for 15 in 2026, but we still have a negative 10 net loss in 2025 when that should have been converted down to now a net revenue of 2025. We bought for 10 of $5 in 2026 and $0 in 2025. Alright, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and call it here at 2 p.m. We streamed for over 3 hours today, so thank you so much for joining me here. I'll be back tomorrow like normal. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks so much.